Rain whispered against the window of Lily's 12th-floor apartment in downtown Chicago. Outside, the city was a blur of hurried footsteps and honking cabs, but inside her apartment, time had stood still for 97 days. On her kitchen table lay a single envelope, creased and slightly damp from the day it arrived. In faded blue ink, her mother's handwriting spelled out, "For Lily, when you're ready." But Lily hadn't been ready. She and her mother hadn't spoken in 2 years. It all started with something so small, a forgotten phone call on Lily's 28th birthday. Her mother had baked her favorite lemon cake and waited all day by the phone. When Lily finally called a week later, distracted and rushing between meetings, her mother's voice was quiet, distant. "It's fine," she'd said, but it wasn't. Words hardened into silence. Texts went unanswered. Holidays were reduced to stiff Happy Thanksgiving emails. Pride, busyness, and the terrible habit of assuming there's always more time built a wall between them, brick by brick. Neither of them knew how to climb back over. Then, on a crisp October morning, Lily's phone rang at 6:03 a.m. It was her aunt, "Your mom. She's gone." A stroke, sudden, painless, they said. But nothing about it felt painless to Lily. She flew home for the funeral in a numb haze. The house smelled of lavender and old books, just like her childhood. Neighbors spoke of her mother's kindness, how she'd leave soup on doorsteps for sick families. "She talked about you all the time," one woman whispered, squeezing Lily's hand, "said you were too brilliant for this town." Lily just nodded, her throat tight. She wanted to scream, but I never came back to tell her I still needed her now. Back in her city apartment, the envelope haunted her. She'd pick it up, trace her mother's familiar handwriting, then set it back down. What if it was an apology she didn't deserve? Or worse, a final goodbye she couldn't bear to read. One stormy night, exhausted from scrolling through old photos, her on her mother's shoulders at the county fair, blowing dandelions in the backyard, Lily finally tore open the envelope. Inside was a single sheet of paper and a pressed violet tied with a thread. Her breath caught. Her mother always tucked violets into her lunchbox in school. "So you remember you're loved," she'd say. The letter began. "My dearest Lily, if you're reading this, I'm already watching you from the stars. Don't cry for me. I'm writing this not to blame you, but to tell you something I should have said every day. You are my greatest joy. Even when we fought, even when we didn't speak, my heart never stopped loving you. I kept every one of your childhood drawings. The lopsided sun you drew at age 5, it's still taped above my bed, framed, though you never knew. I saved your first paycheck stub, sent it as a joke, remember? Now I'm rich, Mom. You were so proud. I was prouder. I know life got busy. I know we both said things we didn't mean, but never, not for 1 second, did I stop hoping you'd walk through my door again. So here's my last wish. Forgive yourself. Don't let guilt keep you from living fully. Laugh loudly, love deeply, and when you miss me, look for violets in Springvale. Always be my way of saying, I'm here, with all my love. Always, Mom." Tears blurred the page. Lily clutched the violet to her chest and sobbed for the regret, the relief, and the love that had nowhere else to go. The next morning, she called in sick. She bought a potted violet from the flower shop downstairs and placed it by the window. And for the first time in years, she dialed her childhood best friend. "Hey," she said softly. "Can we talk? I think. I'm ready to come home." Time doesn't wait for our pride to soften. But love waits, even beyond goodbye. And sometimes, the most healing words come not in a conversation, but in a letter left behind by a heart that never stopped believing in second chances. If this story touched you, please consider subscribing. Thank you for listening.